We persevere in this eternal life with a living hope and a living faith and a living power. Verse 6, in this you greatly rejoice, even though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been distressed by various trials, so that the proof of your faith, being more precious than gold which is perishable, even though tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. What this says to us is that there is a power operative in our lives that sustains us through the very most severe tests we can possibly or can't possibly imagine. Even though you now for a little while, if necessary, have been distressed by various trials, this becomes the proof of your faith, which is more precious than gold, which is perishable. That's a fascinating thought to me. Well, I've been a pastor long enough to know that lots of people struggle with their assurance in salvation. They wonder, am I really saved? Have I really been forgiven? Am I really on the way to heaven? I struggle with trusting the Lord. Young people sometimes will say, I've invited Christ to be my Lord. I've asked God to save me many times. I fear, I worry that I may not be a true believer. Where does assurance come from? Assurance comes from the Spirit of God to an obedient believer as a grace given. But beyond that, assurance becomes stronger and more firm the more your faith is tested by trials. When the doctor says to me, your son has a brain tumor, could cost his life. My faith is tested. And through 9 days of praying and fasting, coming out the other end of that, with a greater love and a greater trust and a greater confidence and a greater hope in God, whatever it meant for my son. He spared my son, even to this day, with no long-term effects at all. But I came through that, and what could have crushed me to my knees, humanly speaking, my faith endured, and I had that golden realization that I have a real faith. There's been a lot of trials like that through life. My wife, Patricia, car accident, broke her neck, fractured C2, C3. The Lord spared her. There have been mutinies through the years at the church. Maybe 20 years into my ministry there, 250 people walk out of the church, and hostility against me, betrayal by friends that I'd invested my life in, disappointment with couples that I've tried to help, families I've tried to help, disappointed in men that I've discipled, disappointed in men that I've trained in their lives. Life is just full of all of that. Illness of people that you care for and love. And your faith goes through a test. And as those tests accumulate, and you come out of those tests, and your faith doesn't fail, no matter what the assault, you have that wonderful realization that is more precious than gold, that this is the real thing.